everyone, welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. I think we have a pretty good video here today. So let's get right into it. You saw the title, you read the thumbnail. Got that backwards again. Always happens to me. You saw the thumbnail, you read the title. There we go. What I believe your first long gun should be, whether it's a shotgun or a rifle. So let's get into it. And before I start, I must say, I'm technically, a biased source or a bias. I don't know how you would want to phrase it here, but my opinion is very much so biased. So let's get into it. So for starters, we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons of shotguns and rifles. And before you guys ask, no, this gun is not empty, but the chamber is clear. I know that just because I didn't put a round in the chamber already. But regardless, I'm not going to be sitting here playing with it too much. Pause. All right. All right, now that I've gotten the jokes out of the way, let's get right into it. So we're going to start off with pros of shotguns. Depending on which caliber you get, you're looking at delivering a lot more energy than you would compared to a rifle, which, that's pretty cool. That's pretty sick. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell you right now, if I could shoot somebody with like some 5.56 or 7.62 by 39 and it delivers the impact that 12 gauge buckshot would deliver to them, I would be all for it. You know what I mean? But that is, once again, with certain calibers. Now, of course, you can make the same argument for rifles. Oh, yeah, well, certain calibers are better than other calibers. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? However, with a shotgun, it's a bit different. The kind of energy that you deliver off when you hit a target it's a force to be reckoned with. All right, let's get that out the way. Next, one of the great things about shotguns, and especially pump action shotguns, is you can use pretty much any kind of ammo you want, whether it's birdshot, buckshot, slugs, turkey shot. If you're in a state that allows you to shoot at dragon's breath, there's gimmick ammo, there's whatever you want. You know what I mean? So therefore, it makes it a very useful and versatile piece as a whole. You know what I mean? Just ignoring the self-defense aspect, just the uses that you can get out of a shotgun, especially out of the 12 gauge caliber, is just insane. So we can get that out of the way. There's no really arguing that anymore. Now, as far as cons go, a con that not a lot of people want to accept, but is very much so the case, is the lack of capacity and how that in a way cripples, you being able to defend yourself or you being able to, achieve whatever objective it is that you are trying to achieve. There we are. I can English, guys. But now, does the power or the energy that's given off by shotgun rounds essentially help make up for the lack of capacity? Yes, to some extent. It depends which calibers you're talking about, of course. You know what I mean? But overall, I would like to make the argument, yes, that generally speaking, since the capacity is going to be smaller, I at least want, when I hit the target, for it to, do much more damage than it would with just, a handgun or a rifle, for example. But do I feel that great about the capacity? Me personally, no, I do not believe so. Now, a pro that I have not gotten to mention yet, something that I don't talk about too much on my channel, since a pump action shotgun is extremely versatile, well beyond the aspect of self-defense, well beyond the aspect of shooting for fun, because you can find birdshot for pretty cheap at this point. Hunting is a big deal. You can hunt with a shotgun, and you can hunt certain game that you can't with specific rifles, to say the least. Now, I'm aware there are rifles that are chambered in, calibers like 30-06, whatever, much larger calibers that deliver more energy that make it, easier to hunt with. Obviously, you can hunt larger game with them. However, those are all, you have to get one gun for this, one gun for that, one gun for this, one gun for that. With this shotgun, I could hunt birds, buck, turkey, you name it, and there's a good chance that I could hunt it probably with this shotgun, or that there's a type of ammo built around stopping whatever game it is. Now, of course, there are exceptions, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, that's obvious. But the versatility of it is unmatched. We can't deny that. Now, moving on from the shotgun to the rifle. And some of y'all might be wondering, well, if you're not even sitting here really talking about these guns in particular, why did you need to have them out? Well, piss off. It's my channel. That's why. Deal with it. But now, moving on to pros and cons about a rifle. And then I'm going to give you guys my final answer on whether or not what I believe will be the best first long gun for most people. So, with rifles, you tend to get a much better capacity than you would with a shotgun. For example, 29 and a half rounds, 29 and a half, not 30, 29 and a half, guys. 29 and a half rounds. But I'm sorry, guys. I can't believe I have to say that stupid stuff because of YouTube. All right, my bad. Back to what I was saying, though. That's a much better capacity than, in my shotgun, for example, 7+1. That is a much better capacity by many standards, but the standard that you want to go by, yeah, it's a much better capacity. Yeah, 100%. Now, with rifles, they tend to be a bit more controllable than shotguns, which definitely is an edge that not a lot of people want to, sit here and accept. Some people are like, oh, well, you just need to shoot the shotgun more, get used to it. Yeah, but I mean, if I hand somebody a shotgun and it's their first time shooting it, they're not going to be able to. If I hand somebody a rifle, depending on what rifle it is, they might be able to handle it much better. Now, beyond just the aspect of, generally speaking, you get a better capacity. Beyond the aspect of generally speaking, they're better to control or easier to control, excuse me. What's also pretty freaking neat about rifles, compared to shotguns at least, is you can get some pretty far shots out. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not watching too many people take extremely far shots with their shotgun. I mean, whether we're talking just just at the range or even for self-defense, it's not something you see too often. Why is that? Well, that's geez, gosh, why is that? Well, that's because birdshot spreads almost everywhere. Buckshot spreads at about 1 inch per yard. So if we're looking at a far distance of, say, like, not even far technically, but a much further distance than you would use for handguns, like 100 yards, whatnot, then yeah, you're probably not going to be able to get as accurate of a hit on target. Now, of course, once again, that kind of boils back to what ammo you're using. You could use slugs and probably have no issue, but overall, rifles tend to be more accurate. You get a better capacity out of them. And generally speaking, they tend to be, once again, this is all based off what caliber you're using, what kind of rifle you get, whatever. They tend to be a good bit easier to control than shotguns. Now, I will say that depending what caliber you get, it might vary on whether or not the ammo is more expensive than shotgun ammo is. For example, I believe it was 250 rounds of Fiocchi double-aught buckshot for like $130 and change online somewhere. And when you break it down, that's like a little over 50 cents a round. That's not a bad price, but in the end, that also costs about the same amount as like this. And actually, no. My 7.62 by 39 costs less than 50 cents a round. I know, very hard to find. Very, very hard to find 7.62 by 39 for less than 50 cents a round. But I did. My point, regardless, though, is that another aspect people don't look at is price point. Now, you can make the argument for shotguns. Oh, well, generally speaking, shotguns are going to be cheaper. Therefore, it doesn't really matter too much if the ammo is a bit more expensive, because it's going to take time for you to, even build up to the cost of what it would have been if you bought a rifle. I get that. However, generally speaking, it's starting to seem more like it's it just depends on you as a person is the best way to explain it, what your situation is. If I say, had a ton of property, I will probably go for the shotgun over my rifle. The main reason why I would go for my shotgun over my rifle is because a ton of property, more likely than not, means that I'm going to be running into a ton of wildlife. That could just be the simple issue right there. And yeah, I would probably much rather have a shotgun, say like a 12 gauge, over an AK or an AR facing an unknown animal that could be a huge bear, it could be a big old moose, it could be whatever, right? Or it could be something extremely small that I don't have to even worry about. It was just making a ton of noise on the property. You know what I mean? So I guess it definitely varies based off what situation you're in particular, what would be best for you. What I would recommend for the average person, I guess would be the best way to say it. What I recommend for the average person is for them to get a rifle. The reason why I recommend that is you get a much better capacity. The ammo tends to be cheaper and more available. Now, of course, if you guys are going to argue, well, birdshot ammo, we're not talking about birdshot. I'm sorry, but if you use birdshot for self-defense ammo, you're doing yourself a disservice. I've actually spoken about this, but regardless, I'm not getting into that. Get a rifle. The main reason why is because, one, they're easier to control. Two, the ammo, generally speaking, is going to be less expensive. Three, there's a better chance of parts availability if you're getting something like, an AK or an AR or whatever, all right? And then, last but not least, and this kind of piggybacks on, the better capacity aspect of it, is that with a rifle, you have a much better chance of fighting off multiple intruders, which you can do with shotguns. Yes, it is possible. However, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Most people, when they buy a shotgun, they're not going to go for a semi-auto shotgun. They're going to go for a pump action shotgun, which means you have that split second in between each round fired where if they're armed and they're shooting back, they can get you. You see what I mean? I would recommend for the average person a rifle, and maybe for somebody who has a bit more property or, whatever, I would recommend a shotgun. Now, of course, with that being said, I just want to point this out before I even wrap up the video, because I have a feeling some of y'all are going to sit there and feel pretty pissed off that I essentially chose the rifle. In the end, guys, I can English. In the end, you guys have to remember, it is solely based off what you would need and what would suit you best. For me, and what I would recommend for most people, it would be a rifle, simply because of the fact that I don't own a ton of property. The average person doesn't own a ton of property. Therefore, if somebody's trying to break into their home, a rifle is probably going to be just phenomenal, get it handled. People can make the same argument for a shotgun, of course, but once again, it essentially boils down to your situation and what would work best for you. With that being said, I think that about wraps up. With that being said, I think that about wraps it up for this video. Gosh, my English is all over the place today. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And whether or not you agree with me, and if you don't agree with me, I'd like to know why. I'd like, comment down below if you don't agree with me on this. But whether or not you agree with me, make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.